I don't know why, but people tell me that I need to yell subscribe at the beginning of my channel. I'm trying to like get into the trend, but like I think that's kind of random. It's like random just to like say, hey, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, please. I mean, in all honesty, guys, I mean, like, subscribe to the channel because it really helps me. It really helps you, and that's what it's all about. Anywho, so today we're looking at a plugin. It's called the Oxford Inflator. Let's get into it. Alright, so before we get in, we're going to start with PDF, then we're going to go into Plugin Doctor. We're going to check that out. Plug it on a mix, plug it on a track, plug it on a mix, plug it on a track. Alright, let's go. Alright, the Oxford, oh gosh. Alright, so the Oxford Inflator, the Oxford Inflator user guide. Pretty exciting, right? Alright, so the Sonnox Oxford Inflator plugin. This plugin was designed to address the current preference to produce the maximum apparent loudness from popular music mixes. Many processes are already in use, which are variously reliant on compression and limiting to produce maximum modulation and try to give an impression of excitement to the sound of the program. The Inflator plugin goes into further than these methods and can increase the loudness of almost any program material, regardless of the levels of prior compression or remaining dynamic range. It will even make full level white noise sound louder. The Inflator plugin can also be used to create much of the warmth, character, and dynamic excitement of analog systems in the digital domain. So it's digital, you know, digital compression and limiting. The inflator process functions by changing the relative probability of samples in the program material such that there is a greater probability of larger values than the original signal. The inflator does not employ signal compression, so there is no pumping, dynamic level change, loss of presence, or flattening of percussive attacks. The full dynamic information of the music content is largely preserved despite the increase in average modulation density. In addition to loudness enhancement, the inflator can create a harmonic profile in the signal spectrum that not only increases the apparent dynamic impact of instruments and performances, but also provides warmth to the program, reminiscent of good valve systems. When used in this way, the inflator even has the ability of good valve systems to produce great sounding program. The inflator even has the ability of good valve systems to produce great sounding program when significantly overdriven, and can therefore be used as an artistic enhancement tool on single performances. See, I mean, guys, my channel is casual. It's simple for the most part. It's like, I understand the companies try to make sure that they have done their research, they have done all the tests that they could do into a plugin. I understand that there's a lot of work that goes into these plugins, but come on, man. I mean, I'm just kind of like the guy that goes, all right, so does it make my stuff loud? Cool. Does it preserve my harmonic content? Yes, it does. Does it make things louder? Does it make things cooler? Yes, it does. Instead, I have to read this entire paragraph about it. I don't know, guys. That's just me. But moving on, input clipping. So the button here, input clip enabled. So enable, disenable. Enable, disenable, really? Disenable? I just said disenable, guys. Enable, disable, enable, disable. The inflator process develops internal signal levels that are notationally greater than digital maximum. For instance, the effect level at maximum and clip off signal peaks above notational digital maximum can be accommodated. I was going to say accomplished. Accommodated, accomplished. And much of their harmonic information can be included in the output signal, even though the peak output level will not rise above digital maximum. The presence of this extra signal range is displayed on the upper sections of the input level meter and reappears a range of up to 6 dBr of usable overdrive before hard clipping occurs. Clip 0 dB function suppresses this extra range and restricts the inflator process to normal digital maximum range. Therefore, you will note that with clip selected, the input level meter will not rise above 0 dB. However, much input gain is employed. Because the potential applications of this process are so varied, you are encouraged to experiment with clip to obtain the best results depending on your intentions. Generally, it is better to start with clip on for the most loudness enhancement, since the control of the peak level setting and sound character is more readily achieved when a maximum reference level is imposed on signals before the inflator process. Okay, this is what I'm kind of curious. When using band split modes for loudness enhancement, using the inflator with clip off may produce a reduction in unwanted intermodulation side effects when pushing for absolute maximum loudness regardless of possible output clipping. Using direct mode without band splitting, okay, for distortion generation, the results will be quite different with or without input clipping and may produce useful artistic effects in either circumstance. The inflator is able to soften clips that occur either because of the clip or even those that happened before its own processing in prior plugins, therefore overdriving the inflator with clip both on and off, or even applying the inflator to the output of either plugins driven other plugins driven into overdrive, and applying the inflator to output of other plugins. It can produce a vast range of artistic effects. The inflator can run on either direct or band splitting modes. In normal operation, the complete frequency range of the program material is processed simultaneously. This is usually the best way to run the process under most conditions. One significant advantage of using this mode is that the output relative peak level will not get larger than peak level. However, much effect is applied. Therefore, more overall enhancement is possible before clipping the output. The louder, more powerful results are possible. Also, when used for distortion generation, the relative phase of the distortion harmonics are better preserved when band splitting is not used, so accurate clip rounding is possible, thus producing a much more pleasing effect. Here we go. The object of the exercise is get the input level as high as possible without excessive distortion or deterioration in the sound. The type of program material and taste will determine the extent of the enhancement that can be achieved. Output overloads are entirely avoided when only the effect level control is set to maximum position of 100%. Okay, so this is the effect position right there. The curve modification control subtly affects the characteristic of the inflator process to both the perceived loudness and tonal character. With curve set to its minimum, the inflator produces the most subtle changes to the sound. Overall loudness enhancement is minimal, but significant harmonic content is added to produce a richer overall sonic character when applied to composite mixes. The predominantly loud parts of the mix will apparently be accentuated over the background and reverberant parts of the program, producing the effect of dynamic expansion without a time constant. This setting is particularly useful when treating drums and percussion instruments, when the impression of dynamic presence needs to be enhanced or the contribution to the mix needs to be tightened up. This kind of setting is also useful. Okay, we're gonna skip down to the sauce, basically. The effect fader sets the amount of overall inflator effect that is applied to the program. Where's curve? Fader value. Band split selects processing on the direct full band signal or evokes a band splitting function that processes the signals separately in the LF. Okay. It's a little better way of putting it. Clip when this button is selected, internal processing levels are restricted to the equivalent of normal digital maximum. When deselected, internal processing may develop and process signal beyond the equivalent of digital maximum. Alright, so let's check this out in Plugin Doctor. I need a much more visual representation of what's happening on this plugin here. Okay, so at the default position here, it's dipping down about 0.5 dB. So if we start increasing the input, it looks like it is preventing it from going any further because clip is on. Now when we did put that back on, it's still not letting it go. Let's try doing a curve. And deselecting that, doing this. Oh, so it only goes up to 50 on the curve. Check the phase. No phase issues. That's good. Moving on. Let's dial that down. I'm going to dial down to 0. Right now, that's just noise. Are we doing an inharmonic? Output is just, yeah, I'm just gonna keep it there. So I would be careful when using this effect because this does introduce some harmonics that are not pleasing, that are not good for some certain instruments. It's pushing it past 100 here. Okay, going back into the PDF here. When using band split, you just got to be careful. This mode is occasionally advantageous when going for maximum loudness. And the clip, so the clipper is just basically like a limiter, and also to my understanding, it also behaves like a clipper. So what it does is it just slices off at a certain point in level, which is at 0 dB. So when you're trying to achieve loudness, the clipper on the Oxford inflator will cut everything off at 0 dB. And you can achieve a different effect when you turn it off and use band split, and also introduce different effects and also have a different curve on it. I wish they were able to show what kind of curve is happening on the linear analysis here, because I'm not really fully understanding what the curve means. Where is the curve happening at these 3 points that they so claim? At positions between 0 and 50, producing the loudness and most exciting effects at plus 50. Let's keep moving on here. A little more exciting, more fat. Let's clip. There's all that color. Let's get 7. At least you can see the harmonics. There's the curve. This repositions it, looks like. It's a very slight repositioning. I'm assuming it's by 6 dB. How's our performance? Pretty outstanding. So it's capturing that signal. Hopefully it's not too harsh on the processing for the CPU. Alright, let's check it out on a mix. Or a track or what have you. Alright guys, so we're going to plug this in on a drum track. And then we're going to give our final consensus about it. We're also going to check this out on this analyzer here. A Zillos Megascope to help us get a much more visual understanding of the plugin. So let's get started. Okay, cool. So pushing this plugin through the mix here, it seems like it's a pretty fun plugin to mess around with. It does what exactly says it does. So it's a limiter. When you introduce that 0 dB clip, it's going to clip it right at that 0 dB and make that perceived loudness come up for you. And it does it ever so subtly. If you guys are looking for a plugin that does things subtly, and if you're looking for something that's not so outrageous, you just need that perfect middle amount of loudness, Oxford has got your back. This plugin is definitely used throughout the entire industry. Everybody loves this plugin just because of how it operates, how it handles the signal content. It just adds that it adds that a little bit of spice to it, just a sprinkle. I would definitely use this on any genre. This is not genre specific. You can use this on almost any instrument, any track, any synthesizer, etc. Some of the things that are a little off-putting to me is I wish the manual was a little more simplified. Trying to understand the language in that just a little bit hard, trying to understand what exactly they're telling me. I feel like the language that was used to market the plugin was a little more advanced than what it actually does to your tracks, unlike a plugin like FabFilter, where that lineup is absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing, whereas this, it's just an oversimplified limiter, clipper. There's not really that much that goes into it. It's a simple plugin. The other unfortunate thing is that it's not resizable. There's no way to actually resize the plugin. I like resizing my plugins. Try this out on a mix, guys. See what you guys can unlock. I can only do so much in a video. There's only so much that I can push out for you guys. So many tests that I can do. Right now at this point, I feel like you might be a little annoyed at my voice. I'm not really that perfect, so I can't always please everybody. I can only do as much as I can. So check out the channel. Look through some of those plugins that I've submitted. Subscribe to the channel. This absolutely sends a signal to me that you want to help, that you want to support, which is awesome. I'm trying to build as much support as I can. I'm trying to build a much more concise understanding of the industry, much more easier way of understanding how the industry works. If you like that, please subscribe. When I see a subscriber on my channel, I absolutely love that. Also, I'm planning on trying to shoot out a special for these upcoming videos, whereas if the channel gets up to 50 more subscribers, I will be sending out a gift. So if you guys subscribe to the channel, whoever it is that 50th subscriber, you will get a special gift from moi. Check out the webpage at djcavio.com. And that's all we got for today, guys. Go out and have some fun.